So, what is the life mission of Hindu nation? Swami Vivekananda had said, every nation has a message to deliver, a mission to accomplish, a destiny to fulfill. Bharat also has a mission to give dharma to the world. We are described as a dharma prana country. Now, dharma is wrongly translated as religion. Religion is different. Religio means to bind. So, religion has do's and don'ts. It is a way to reach the truth or God. And the truth is so vast and magnificent that naturally there are many ways. Ruchinam vaichitriat rujukutil nana pathayutam nranameko gamya payasitvamasam aranav yuva. According to the different tests of individuals, there are many ways. Easy ways, hard ways, straight ways, crooked ways. But ultimately, as water falling anywhere on earth will ultimately reach Sagar, the ways reach the same reality. Dharma is something different. Dharma is translated in many ways. One connotation of dharma is the nature of things. I had a textbook when I was studying in 10th class matriculation, General Properties of Matter. I studied in Marathi medium. So, the title General Properties of Matter was translated as Samanya Vastu Dharma. Samanya is general, Vastu is matter, and properties is Dharma. So water will flow, that it is Dharma. Fire will burn, that is Dharma. Dharma is also duty, Kartavya. Putra Dharma, Pitru Dharma, Raja Dharma, Paja Dharma. Dharma is also described as a middle path. Extremism is not allowed in Dharma. All extremes are avoided. And there is a middle path. Tathagat himself has described Dharma as Madhyama Marga. Dharma is also sometimes translated as Anushasan, discipline. A particular way of doing the things. Sabba papasya akaranam, kusalasya upasampada, satchitta paryodapanam, ete buddhanusasanam. This is Buddha's Anushasana. Not doing any papa, any evil thing. To lead the life so that you don't disturb others. That is kusalasya upasampada. And all the while purify your mind, your intellect, your chitta. That is Buddha's Anushasana. That is Buddha Dharma. And Dharma is also that which sustains. Dharanat Dharma ityahu. Dharmo dharayate praja. Is it needed? I, as a Bharatiya, I may say, Bharat has to prosper and Bharat has to give dharma. But who wants that dharma? That is the question. And for that, we have to see what today's world scenario is. There is much progress in the world, especially with the advent of science 300 years before. Many amenities have been created by the science. Our knowledge of physical world has increased many folds. We now go beyond solar systems and we go beyond particles. So both ends, smallest and largest, is within the bounds of our knowledge. Science has project, health has become an easier subject. Everything. People are benefiting from that. But still, problems are there. New problems are coming and old problems remain. Every human endeavor has started to create happiness in the world. Sukha. We run after sukha. We go after happiness. That is the nature of our world, nature of every animate, inanimate thing. But we are running and we don't have that. We have amenities, we have suvidhas. Life has become easy. There are so many aids we have created to make it easier. But the happiness eludes us. There is no satisfaction. There is no santosh. And so, in ancient times, there were wars. Wars continued. The First World War destroyed many things. And sane people of the humanity were shocked to see that destruction. So, League of Nations was created to bring peace. But Second World War happened. So it was resolved and there was United Nations organization. It is continuing, but wars are also continuing. There is no now clearly on the battlefield one army, this side, another army, that sort of war is not there. But conflicts are going on. World arsenal can destroy 10 worlds like this. So much potent arsenal humans have amassed. What happens if there is an accident? We better not imagine. These things are continuing. The narrowness of mind, enmity, seeing difference as separateness, all these things, they are there. They are continuing. There is no abatement. And therefore, people are thinking now, because lots of experiments went in. For last 2000 years, humanity has experimented to bring that happiness. But every experiment had given incomplete result. I will not say they have failed. Every experiment has done something. But it did not come true to the expectations. Results were incomplete. And that is why old problems continue, new problems arise. So, there was some who denied God. There were some who said, God is the Supreme King. There was a way in which individual was given most prominence. There is a way where individual was considered only as a cog in the wheel of society. Samajwad, Samyavad, everything has been tried. And now people realize that something is lacking. That thing which is lacking, it is the cause of this incompleteness of success of humanity. Now we have complete knowledge of our bodies, our minds, our intellect. But we don't know which connects these three. Body needs some sweet. I will be happy if I eat sweet. But at the same time, I want to eat that sweet with dignity. If someone says, I will give you one peda and I will hit you with my shoe once, as many as shoes you are able to bear, I will give that much. Well, I will deny, no. So different happiness of these three, how can we connect it? To earn money for our family, it's happiness. We go out of our house at 6 o'clock and come at the night. So the very happiness we deny by remaining outside. Our children ask the mother when there is some holiday and I am at home, who is this new person in our home? That happens. So, what connects these? Individualism is growing. So, families break due to ego problems. Societies, various communities, they conflict. And when society is kept under discipline as one, individual liberties are suppressed. Humanity, when it prospers and develops technology, environment is destroyed. And those who want to preserve the environment, they oppose all development. Because we don't know what connects individual, society and nature. So we want to fulfill all our ends. Means are limited and ends are endless. That is the first sentence of our economic science. So we earn and earn. But we never learn to be happy. Always mad race is going on about that. So there is this artha, procuring means, and there is kama, fulfillment of desires. But if you want to earn, you have to forego your desires. And if you want to satisfy your desires, you earn less because you spend more. And if you want to have salvation, liberation, mukti, moksha, you have to forego all this. You cannot have all the three things simultaneously. Because we don't know what thing connects these. It is said that long back, humanity, researching after truth, a section of humanity concluded that whatever I can see, I can feel with my sense organs, that is the only truth. There is no point in going further and searching for truth elsewhere. So they stopped researching and they said this material happiness is the everything. And therefore, materially when we see, we are all different. So, when we are different and ends are endless and means are limited, there is competition. So, those who are fit, they will win, they will survive. There is struggle for existence. There is survival of the fit. . And therefore, because though earth has enough for everyone's need, it cannot satisfy our greed. And being separate, we are not sure of our safety and survival. We amass everything. So we extort it from the natural resources. So there is extortion of nature. And we are always keen to have our rights satisfied, rights obtained. We are not that keen on performing our duties. And this continues. What they tell us, the world is like this, if you like it or not. Be fit and survive. Don't worry about others. You have to survive. Because after death there is nothing. As long as you live fully, enjoy fully, and live as long as you can, at the expense of everything else. When before 350 years, this change came into human society. There was a film, The 11th Hour, and various scientists from very many countries and heads of the administration, etc., spoke in that. That film was about nature, climate change. And they unanimously expressed one view. As long as we didn't have means to exploit nature, we lived with nature. We used the flowing energy, which is always replenished. But after we progressed, we had science, and then we got the means to go deeper into earth, and we exploited the stored resources of our earth, which are never replenished after we spend them. So the knowledge which should bring happiness and more surety of survival to humanity brought us the destruction. So what is the way? They said in that picture that we have to live with the nature, we have to have the restraint. Why should I have restraint? If I want to become happy, and all of you are different from me, separate from me, why should I worry? I will be happy. Whatever happens to you, I have no concern. Because there is no link between you and me. Fortunately, as I said, we were Sujalam, Sofalam, Malayaj, Shitalam, our ancestors. We had every natural resource within the bounds of our country, and those bounds were in a way fenced from the rest of the world. In those ancient days, nobody could cross Himalaya and come into Bharat. Nobody could cross the seas and come to Bharat. So we were safe. And we had plenty. So we had no cause to fight. We didn't have any aggressors. And we had time. So where world stopped, we did not. He said, we don't get that ultimate thing, absolute reality, which cannot change by seeing outside. We have to see inside. And we started seeing inside. And after many tapas, we found that thing, which is inside everything in the creation, animate, inanimate. That we call Atman. Whole universe is pervaded by the same Atman. Science also says consciousness. That consciousness pervades everything. Consciousness is not local, it is universal. And everything started with a pre-existing universal consciousness. Science is talking of it now. There is a branch of science, noetic science, that researches about that. But our people had, in the very ancient past, our rishis, our munis, they had this realization. By reaching that truth, then we lack nothing. There is permanent satisfaction. Everything we want, we can have. We don't have to quarrel. There is satisfaction. And this thing, that principle, that reality is all pervading. Actually, everything comes out of it and goes back into it. So everything that appears changing, impermanent and different from each other is actually manifestation of the same indestructible, Shashwat we call it, permanent, absolute reality. So, to be happy, we have to have sakshatkar, realization of that reality. And therefore, we have to have restraint in our life. We have to have the attitude of giving back, attitude of sacrifice, tyaga. All these things are necessary. That is the way to live. And then, if everything is mine, because everything has come out of the same thing, which is in everything, that is Atman. You and me are the same, we appear different. That is a question of seeing. As long as we see each other as different. You had your coffee in the interval or your alpahar in the interval, I had mine. Because you had coffee, that doesn't mean that I need not take coffee. I want to have my separate coffee. But in our household, some sweets are made and children come and they finish all the sweets. There is nothing left for the mother. Mother says, okay, you have eaten to your full, I am fulfilled. I don't want. My stomach is already full. How that happens? That is this realization of oneness in its simplest, crudest form. That oneness connects everything. It connects our sharira, mana, buddhi in form of Atma. It connects individuals, society, srishti, that is nature, in form of parameshti or parabrahm, whatever you call. And it connects our artha, kama and moksha in form of dharma. Dharma is the balance. We have to have balance. Dharma is for everybody and everything. All. We say maximum good of maximum people. Our Bharatiya tradition says, Sarvepi sukhinas santu, sarve santu niramaya. Not maximum, all. And therefore, every manifestation of this unity, which is diverse, it has its own speciality. And that is valid in the entire scheme of the world. You cannot call it bad or good. That is your perception. But everything has a role. And dharma is the balance which gives you capacity to balance all this. A very old story, every one of you might be knowing it in our tradition. There was one Shibi Raja. And in his court, a dove came flying. That dove was very frightened. And it said to the king, one hawk is chasing me. It wants to kill me and eat me. Please give me asylum. So Shibi Raja gave him asylum. He hid in his robes. Then hawk came and he asked Shibi Raja, did a dove come here? I am hungry. I want to eat that dove. I think it has come to you. Please surrender it to me. Shibi Raja says, no. He wanted asylum, I gave him asylum. He is my praja. I want to protect him. I will not let you eat him. Then hawk says, you are talking of dharma, but nature has given me the dharma to eat the dove. I am not a vegetarian like you. I must eat meat, otherwise I will starve. You are starving me. You are creating hindrance in observing my dharma. And you are talking of dharma. Dharma is not like that. Dharma is for everyone. Dharma is everywhere, creating happiness, fulfilling every need. Now, if we think legally only, what is the answer? Shiviraja should surrender the doe to hawk, otherwise Shiviraja should kill the hawk, or Shiviraja should let the doe go free and let the hawk chase him. Whatever will happen, happen. That is the only answer. Materialist view can create laws for the well-being of everything. But they have a limit. They cannot answer this really. Shiviraja invokes dharma and he says, you are right. It is your dharma to eat meat. Your dharma doesn't say that you have to eat does only. You want meat, okay. Doe has to save his life. It will be allowed. You want to eat meat. I will allow you to eat meat. You take my meat of the same weight and satisfy your hunger. Your dharma will be protected. Doe's life, it will be saved. And my dharma to protect the doe, that also will prevail. That is dharma. That is balance. And for the balance to be restored, human beings, being the supreme in the creation, on the top of the ladder, they have to give, they have to leave, they have to let go. That way of dharma has to be given to the world from time to time. And this time has come because world is stumbling. There is no answer. Actually, there is answer if we think in the way of dharma. But that dharma has to be lived. And a prosperous nation should be created on the basis of dharma way. Then we can, because we are told to do this, and our way was also defined. Etad desha prasutasya sakashad agra janmanat. We are agra janma, we are the oldest of the nations. And therefore, those who are born of this nation, swam charitram shiksheran prathivyam sarvana manava. To educate the humanity not by preaching, by your practice. Leading by example, leading from within. Our ancestors once upon a time did this. They went from all over the world, from Mexico to Siberia. They went on foot. They went in small dinghies, crossed the seas, crossed the mountains. Anywhere they went, they did not suppress anyone. They did not plunder. They did not convert. They befriended every nation. They gave the knowledge they had. And if there was something to learn, they learned it from that. Ano Bhadra Karto Yantu Vishwatam. That time has come again. Bharat has to rise. Bharat has to establish itself as a Dharma nation. And then freely, nations all over the world, they will see us in their own way. They will define their own Swadharma. They will create the prosperity for their own nation. And all the nations together will contribute for the betterment of humanity, betterment of the universe. That has to happen. What has this to do with 100 years of Sangha? I already told you, Sangha is for evolution of life mission of Hindu nation. And the first step of that evolution is to prepare the society. That is still incomplete. we have to extend our work. So, in centenary, our first concern is to take our work to every village, to every strata of the society, to every class, caste, etc. We see Hindu society as one homogeneous society, but world sees Hindu society in so many diversities. We have to reach every diversity. We have to organize the Hindu society. Whole of the Hindu society, all 142 crore people, with so many religious denominations, and some of them came from outside in the course of history. Okay. Worship may change. People are ours. So first we have to do that. So we have kept going on for the extension of our work. We have plans to extend our work to all geographical units in our country and to every layer, every strata, every kind in our society. To that end, we have started our dialogue with those who do not consider themselves Hindu. They agree that they are Bharatiyas. They also sometimes say we are not Hindus, we are Hindavi. We have come from Hindus. They say we are Indic people. We know all these are synonyms. Hindu word we use because Hindu denotes the content. Hindu is not restricted by any form. So it can be applied to everybody who accepts all the diversities, respects all the diversities. So first thing we have to do is to take our work everywhere. Create these organizations, create individuals who will walk this talk. Because ideals are not enough. Ideals are like stars, which we can never reach. But we can plot our chart according to them. That is a saying. But when we go to plot our chart according to ideals, we see the hard way they had to negotiate. And then we say it is better not to cross that path. When we have someone like us, someone of our own level, doing that, we say, okay, that is a noble thing, and if he can do it, I will also do it. We have enough ideals, ample ideals. There is no dearth. But we have to have examples who are within us. The Nayak Rabindranath Tagore described. That work we'll keep doing and we'll try to complete it at the earliest. At the same time, all the well-meaning people of our society, we call them Sajjan Shakti. You are sitting here, you are Sajjan Shakti. They want something good to happen in our country. Not only that they want it, they try to do their bit. In any way they can contribute, they are trying to take this further. All may not agree with our ideas. All may not come to our shakas. All may not support us politically. There are different kinds. But if they are honest and well-meaning, they are sajjans for us. We want to create a sort of networking within such people. Because we work in our own spheres. Our country is vast. We don't know what is happening. And media doesn't inform us of all the good that is happening. Because negativity becomes news. Positivity is not a news. A dog bites a man. That is not news. A man bites a dog. That is news. And therefore, in that matter, we are not informed, and many times a frustration comes. Nothing is going to happen, nothing is going to improve, all this is going to decay. like that. It comes our enthusiasm. This should not happen because the fact is, at least 40 times more good is happening in our country in comparison with bad that is happening. If one bad thing happens, there are 40 good things happening. And therefore, it is the time of good. Time of bad has passed. Time of good is there. And therefore, we should continue with our effort. For that, we must know. I am not alone. There are so many. They are working. They are also getting results. Such good things are happening. So that networking is the another plan we have. And of course, if the Bharat of our dreams has to materialize, there should be first thinking. So we want to initiate a nationwide deliberations and discussions. How, in what light we want Bharat to rise? How that can be accomplished? What is our role in that? How can we go about it? From individual efforts to national policies, everywhere, this thinking has to be there. A long-term planning has to be there. Piecemeal treatment cannot bring results. You have to think, because we also, all of us, have been reared in the same colonial mindset. Though I am talking this to you, I was educated in the so-called Macaulay system only. And it must have some effect on my thinking. I have to get rid of that. So I have to think. I have to pinpoint where I lack. I have to remove those. Everything I have to do. And this, as a society, we have to do collectively. The Indian knowledge system is much discussed word nowadays, especially in reference to our new education policy. What I find is most of the people understand when we say Indian knowledge system, we should bring into light that information. Yes, we have accurately mentioned this distance of sun from the earth in the Vedas. Archimedes knew later, our Bodhayan knew that world famous theorem 900 years before Archimedes. But not only that, our knowledge, tradition have many things that are applicable today even. The other day only a scientist mentioned to me, in Vriksha Ayurveda by Parashara, he has given a procedure to predict rainfall. If you want to predict rainfall in Bangalore next year, you, in Pausha Masa, you count per hour direction of wind in Bangalore for one day. Any tithi in Pausha Mas. Take reading, how wind direction was there. On that basis, you can predict the annual rainfall at Bangalore. Then one of the universities in Bharat took this project. They did this. And on the basis of they had some prediction. And the results say the predictions came 90% correct. Now we have to go through and see if there is some applicability in our knowledge strategy. It is there. Not only in spiritual science, in material science also. So this type of churning, intellectual endeavors, that has to be there and that has to be countrywide practiced so that many new ideas regarding our development in the desired direction will come out. Then also, if we have to do this, society must have an atmosphere of mutual goodwill, harmony, and positivity. Oh, nothing will happen. All politicians are corrupt. This is that. This negative talk is too much now. There are many examples on the contrary. So start from positivity and develop it. There must be goodwill. So we are thinking of taking our Sadbhavana Karya, wherein particularly the caste leaders and also heads of various religious sects at block level, development block level, they have to sit monthly together and think of three things. First, what are the efforts going on in their own caste or creed for its upliftment, getting them free of the superstitions and wrong traditions, economic, moral upliftment, all sort of upliftment. What are they doing? They should sit together and tell experiences, so others also get the ideas. There is exchange. That is one thing. Second, what we together can do to cure a problem or to fulfill some need of our development block, together working for whole of the society. That is the second topic of discussion. And third topic is what we together can do for the weaker caste or weaker creed in our group. If they think like this periodically, monthly, and do something about it, small tasks are there, which can be done on their own basis. They do not need any help outside. Whatever they can do with their own resources, they should do. They should resolve it and they should fulfill it together within coming month. If these three things happen, then if this happens at block level, it will not be a hidden thing. Everybody will know. Our leaders sit together and think about these three things. Nobody will be able to create any conflict within our society on any basis. Because if any conflict monger goes and talks of some bad thing, people will tell him, don't sell this, sell these goods to us. We know our leaders, they sit together, they think of us, they think of everybody, and they strive for the poor also. So don't try to incite some quarrel amongst us. That Sadbhavana we have to take up to block level. That is in our plan. And of course, such behavior will create harmony in the society, which is much needed thing. That harmony, that apnapan, because life is so diverse. And for example, we are sitting here, there are sections of our society who are deprived from centuries. So now they cannot compete with us because they are not on the same line. So we have to let go of something so that they get it and they come on the equal status with us. Now, giving something from us, if we have to give something to someone else whom we do not consider he is ours, there is bickering. But if we say he is ours, we will do whatever we can for him. We can share our wealth. We can share our everything for them. That is how progress occurs. If a man has fallen in pit and he wants to come out, and we want him to come out, we will have to stoop down and he will have to raise himself. So together we can take him out of pit and he will walk with us. But that stooping down hurts the ego. And curing of ego is not possible. Only love can do that. That love, that is harmony. That harmony is created by this Sadbhavana. And the impetus to bring Sadbhavana, to carry on the efforts, comes out of positivity. So these things we have to do. We have to take it to the block level. And I mentioned that we have to continue with the dialogue because, unfortunately, there was no such separateness in Bharat before British tried to do it. Islam came with aggressors, okay, that happened. But aggressors went back. And the Muslims here were Bharatiya Muslims. They also considered themselves Bharatiya Muslims. So, sort of harmonization, assimilation, it caught hold and it progressed. But in the reign of Aurangzeb, he tried to reverse this process. But then eventually he failed. And again that process started. And in 1857, Muslims and rest of the Hindus, they fought with British together. To consolidate that unity, Bahadur Shah Zafar issued a farman banning cow slaughter. All these things happened. Rama Janmabhoomi did not remain a debate. Hindus of Ayodhya and Muslims, they came together and they resolved that Ram Mandir should be constructed. We will give it to the Hindus. Seeing that, British were alarmed. They say that these appearing very different people and always quarreling with each other, but if a foreigner comes in them, they unite till they oust us. So we have to do something about it. And then they recognized all the fault lines in our society and tried to widen all the gaps and did some permanent things so that this bickering should go on. Now we are independent, but those reminiscences of those times, they play a very bad role. Remnants of those differences, they are playing havoc. We have to sit together, talk and dispose of it then. Yes, what happened, happened. Okay. Now we have to start a new chapter. We are one people, we are one nation, we are Hindu nation. Okay, you don't like the word Hindu. We are Bharatiya nation, we are Indic nation. Say something, but the essence is as a nation, as Sanskriti, as a Samaj. I should not say nation, I should say Rashtra, because nation compulsorily involves state. Our Rashtra concept is not state, it is Sanskriti. So in Bharat, in our history, there were many kings and one nation, one Rashtra. We were independent, we were Rashtra. We were slaves, still we were that Rashtra. Hindu Rashtra continues, conditions change. We are that Rashtra. Only difference is our worship. That is allowed in our Rashtra. All these understandings should dawn on the minds, on those minds who, for say, 2 centuries have been raised in the separateness of the things, deliberately, to cut them out from us. If they forget this, then division occurs. हिंदू भाव को जब जब भूले, आई विपद महान, भाई टूटे धरती खोई, मिटे धर्म संस्थान. Why divisions occur in Bharat? Why divisions occurred? There are many reasons, temporary reasons. We can discuss in any way we want, but one common factor was there. Either there was lessening of Hindu population or lessening of Hindu bhava. There are Muslims with Hindu bhava because Muslim is a worship. This is our national identity. We have to educate these sections also. To that end, we have taken up the dialogues. We have to expand them. We have to take this message to every individual. That is another thing we see about. Then actually, on the basis of dharma, how do you propose to conduct the day-to-day affairs of a nation? We have to create small models. How a village development can occur on the dharma concept? How do you propose to provide for health of every individual? Through dharma concept. All these are the things we have to answer. And for that, we have to create models. We have already started this work. And we have considerably had some progress in that. But we have to take it further. And we have to innovate in many new ways. And we have to have contact with others who are working in these fields. With different ideas, not necessarily dharma model, but there are many things we can learn from them also. And they can learn from us. There has to be cooperation. There has to be complementation. There has to be a learning from each other. And that we have started. We have our Seva Sangams in which we invite all such people and exchange. Give and take occurs. And then of course, when we say Etad Desha Prasutasya Sakashadagra Janmana, so we have to create a life in Bharat first, which is free of all these anomalies. In Gandhiji's words, there were 7 social sins. We can find them in different degrees in every country of the world. Pleasure without conscience, wealth without work, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, religion without sacrifice, and politics without principles. That is the malady prevalent everywhere in different degrees. First, we have to create Bharatiya life free of all this. And then we have to invite the world, or we have to go in outreach towards the other countries of the world and tell them, sir, we have found this way. You can come and see, study it, and whatever is applicable in your country, you can pick it from here. In the process, if you have something to teach us, please teach us. The way need not be exactly the same. Basis is same. Our gantavya, our reaching point is the same. But we start from Bharat, and we start from UK, and we start from USA, from Australia, from some southeastern country, Kazakhstan, etc., etc. So they have their own standpoint, and they have to adapt these models to their own situations. This exchange should occur. For that, a global outreach should be there. And particularly, first, our neighboring countries. Most of them were Bharat 100 years before. Actually, they are our people. But politically, they are different countries. And we honor their sovereignty and everything else. But that doesn't mean that we don't want to cooperate. Initiatives like SAARC, but they are government initiatives. I am talking here of people to people cooperation, people to people. So, if our neighboring countries are being helped by Bharat in creating good life in those countries, that is a message for world. Otherwise, we will go to America and preach them about this. They will say first, take care of Nepal, take care of Bangladesh, take care of Sri Lanka, then come to us. And there is nothing difficult in this. These are our people. Even in today's conditions, they have many similarities with us. Actually, they feel most at home when they come to Bharat. And we don't feel we are outside Bharat when we go there. You can travel and take the experience. So we have to do this. These are some things in our minds. First few things we have decided. We have a plan and we will proceed. But this global outreach, the neighboring countries, creating a model, national model of Bharat Varsha, definitely we intend, they are in our intention, but now we have to go step by step, create some plan, have the primary things necessary to execute it, and then that I cannot decide individually. Our Pratin Sabha decides upon that. When and how is their prerogative. As I was introduced, I think, in that I am only friend, philosopher and guide. So, in our philosophy, that is there. And we, each of us, very ardently wish to this to happen. But when to go about it and how to go about it is a matter of decision, which our Pratin Sabha will take someday. And this will happen. So, after completing a century, we feel delighted. Some credit also we feel that we have some credit about that. But we know that our task is still incomplete. In a way, we completed 100 years is a matter of pride. But also, we took 100 years to come here. That is something for us to introspect. So, we have a task ahead. Miles and miles to go. So, we are at it. And we expect that after hearing this, you will, in your own capacity, if you can directly cooperate with us. Indirectly, you can help us. Or no, you are doing something else which is very good. You want to continue with that, okay, that is also helping us. If you do any good deed, good for the society, good for the humanity, you are part of our work. The Sangha doesn't expect you to wear uniform, except everybody. And it is impossible. 142 crore of people in single uniform at single place is impossible. We will create centers, we will create individuals. They will be the focal points. But an atmosphere of dedication for the nation, an atmosphere to work for the good of the humanity, an atmosphere to keep oneself moved to the values we have got in our inheritance. That is what we desire. And to have that atmosphere, certain expense is necessary. We have to go about it. But as I said, Sangha is neither opposition nor reaction, not a temporary thing. Sangha, because it is evolution of life mission of Hindu nation, and life mission of Hindu nation is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Sangha wants to prepare the society, prepare the nation to be organized and with benevolence act for the humanity is normal state of any nation, any society. I hope we all together in coming few decades achieve this status of our society, of our nation, and definitely in achievement, in that achievement, we also as Sangha will have our own contribution. If you don't acknowledge it, I don't have to complain. But whatever you do, you should know these facts about Sangha and form your opinion on the basis of facts, not hearsay or narration or perception. That was the only wish. So, after telling you that, I think I should welcome your questions tomorrow. Thank you for hearing me into continuous session. For how much long time I don't know, but I think you have heard it all. Thank you.